As we know that in order to supply this water and as well as other minerals and as well as the food which has been produced in the leaves, so we have two kinds of tissues in the plants. So what is the tissues called as? So we have two parts.
Xylem and phloem.
Xylem and phloem.
Two tissues in plants in order to supply the water and that one. So one is called as what? Xylem. And another one is what? Phloem.
Phloem.
Phloem or phloem, whatever it want you can. So now, in order to supply the water and other minerals, we need what? Only this thing, minerals, we used to call it as xylem. Xylem has been taken care, and only supply of food, which has been done what?
Phloem.
So food has been produced by what? It may be stems, green stems. Basically, it is what? Leaves. Correct or not? So that is what you should remember. Okay, Ra? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So the plants have only two types of conducting tissues. Conducting tissues. What we should call these two things called as? What we should call this? Conducting tissue. Conducting means what? Transporting. Understanding or not? So conducting tissues we used to call them. So remember that also. So these conducting tissues only, somebody will take care of water and other minerals, and somebody will take care of regarding food prepared by the plants, in the particularly like stems and green leaves and green stems and etc. etc. That is one. So we have two transport systems in plants. That is what we have concluded finally. We have two transport systems in plants. So what is that? What is that? We have two transports in plants. What is that?
Xylem
One
and phloem.
Xylem system and another one is phloem system. So Xylem system, which has been carries what? Which carries water.
Water and other minerals.
The second one is called as phloem, which carries the food materials which the plant makes. Understand? And also remember, the another purpose of phloem is plants also, they have a hormones. Is it yes or no? Will you accept it, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So
Yes, sir.
whatever the hormones has been, remember another purpose of phloem is not only transport of food, not only transport of food. In order to transport hormones which are produced in roots and tips, shoot tips. Shoot tips means what? At the edge, budding, you know, that is. Understanding, Ra?
So this also should be transported.
That is also. Then how the hormones will be transported? Hormones also should be transported, correct? Do you understand? Shoot tips. Shoot means like a sharp, the plant starting growing place, you know, growth, where it is growth, it takes place. Do you understand, Ra? So these are the things, and as well as roots, both hormones, whatever it is produced. This is also transported by whom? Phloem. Please, all of you note it down. The most important. Do you people know this point before? Really tell me. Do you know?
No, sir.
No, that is what. Write it. So we have two purposes of phloem. One is what? Carry the
Transporting
material.
food
Transport hormones which are produced in
materials and hormones.
Carry the hormones made by whom? Made by the plant.
roots and shoot tips.
Yeah. Root
and shoot.
as well as
Root and tip.
that is. So that is why the transport of materials in a plant can be divided into two parts. One is transport of water and as well as minerals in the plant, and the second one is transport of food and other substances. Other substances doesn't mean that. What does it mean? It means that hormones in the plants.
Hormones.
So This is what the transportation system in plants. Now, for that, I will give you one diagram below this to represent the transportation in plant. You please need to draw this diagram. Suppose they will ask you an exam question for 2 marks. Define transport in plants and explain in detail. Explain in detail means in the sense of what is the xylem, what is phloem, what is happening. That is all you should write. What are the points I have taught you now? You have to write it. And in order to that, if it wants to impress, then a very simple diagram. If you draw this diagram, then really I'm saying you, everybody will be well impressed with it. That is what I need from you all people. So you have to draw this diagram. So the diagram I am showing you here, please all of you take a screenshot or something, you do it, and you have to draw this and you have to understand it. I need to know, because the diagram will represent the both system of transportation in plants. That is only this one. So please all of you take care. This diagram should be drawn, everyone. Okay. So here you will observe in this picture, please, two transportation is there. What is that? Can you able to say where it is representing, which type of transportation? Let me know. So as we know that, here I am showing you phloem tissues, phloem, xylem. This is called as phloem tissues. You can see they will carrying what? They are carrying water. They are carrying food. Understanding? Food from where? Food is produced from where? Food is produced from leaves. Is it yes or no?
Leaves.
Food is produced from leaves. That is why the arrow is showing downwards, because from lower parts of the plant it is bringing, and as well as upper part of the plants it is bringing. That is why you can see for phloem we have a 2 directions arrow. Here upper part, because for upper parts the food is carrying, and lower parts also. But if you take xylem what? Always it will carry dissolved minerals, and as well as what is that?
Water.
Only one direction. What is the direction?
Upward direction.
Upward direction.
So wherever it is needed, as we know that water and minerals from the soil only it is. So everything will be upward direction. So this is the what we can say, the diagram which will represent the both transportation in plants. So here you can see again from the evaporation of water from the leaves. So the evaporation of water from the leaves, we have a special name in the plants. What is that called as? Transpiration. Understanding, most important
Transpiration.
one. So from the evaporation. Now here itself, from the leaves only oxygen supply will be there. From the leaves only carbon dioxide supply is there. This is for respiration, and CO2 is for photosynthesis. So that is what. So that is why this is not under what? This is not under transportation. Not under transportation. Why? Because it has so many branches. So each branch can directly absorb the oxygen. Each cell can absorb directly the required amount of oxygen and carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. Correct or not? Yes. And you may ask me, sir, this stem, how it can absorb carbon dioxide? Carbon dioxide is not needed for this stem. Is it yes or no? It needs only oxygen, because it does not contain what? Chlorophyll. Correct or not? So if there is no chlorophyll, then there is no need of absorbing carbon dioxide. So that is what I am saying. Do you understanding, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Or no? Do you understand or not? That is what it is. Please try to understand and make it. This diagram, take a screenshot. This is what the representation of transport in plants. So now we have 2 kinds of transport systems. One is Xylem transport system, and another one is phloem transport system. So now one by one we'll study. So please all of you keep heading. Transport of water and minerals. Transport of water. First system. What is that? Transport of water and minerals. So done by Gumra. Done by whom?
Xylem.
Xylem. So now this is what. Shall we start now? Shall we discuss in detail? Very, very, very important. Each and every stage you will learn minimum one scientific word and one new terminology.
Sir, what is the heading, sir?
Transport
Xylem, sir.
water and minerals. That is what it is the purpose of Xylem. Correct or not, Padmavarshini? That is what the example heading. That's all. Now, as we know that plants required water for making food in some process. What is that process? Can you able to say? Tell me. Plants need water. Plants need water. Will you accept it or not? Plants need water
Yes, sir.
in order to make
Yes, sir.
To make food.
in order to make food by the process of what? By the process of
Photosynthesis.
but is it plants can absorb the water directly from the atmosphere? No.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Thus, you know that photosynthesis reaction. May the required carbon dioxide they can, but may the required water should not be transported directly from the atmosphere. It has been supplied through where? Supplied through the roots.
Root from the underground.
Reaction. Is it correct? Is it correct photosynthesis reaction?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Good.
Yes, sir.
In order to supply, plants need water in order to make food by photosynthesis. So plants also need other mineral salts for various purposes. For example, they need proteins, they need some kind of NPK minerals, etc. for their growth and maintaining in order to improve their resistance of disease resistance, immunity not only for humans, understanding the disease resistance power should be also for plants also. So for maintaining other purposes of growth well, give the good size of fruit, give the good size of flowers, everything, size, everything, in order to give the big leaves, everything, they need other kind of things like proteins, amino acids, minerals, other kind of etc., vitamins, everything. So all these kind of water and minerals are only absorbed from the one part of the body. That is from where? By which part? By the roots of the plants. From where? From where? From where? From soil. Correct or not? So whatever the water, whatever the minerals, everything has been absorbed by roots. Roots are absorbing from where? Absorbing from
Soil.
soil. That is what you should remember. So whatever the required minerals and water, everything are absorbed from the soil by the roots of the plants, and it has been transported to the various parts of the plants like stems and leaves and flowers and fruits, whatever it is, etc. In the leaves, water is used in making food by the process of water. Arvind, by the process of photosynthesis. Then who will supply? Roots are absorbing water. Then leaves are required water for the photosynthesis. Minerals and water is required. Salt minerals is required to grow the tissues of the plants. Then who will supply? These all the things has been supplied by whom?
Xylem, sir.
Xylem.
The another one
Xylem.
called as trachyards. What we should call? Trachyards. So in order to supply this water and minerals dissolved in it, move from the roots of the plant to its leaves to the two kinds of elements of the xylem tissue. Both are xylem tissues only, called as xylem tissue. Again, two parts it is. So a kind of elements of xylem tissues which we used to call as xylem vessels and as well as trachyards. What is that? In order to supply all these things,
Xylem Vessels.
Xylem tissues. So this xylem tissues is again two things. What is that? What is that?
Xylem vessels and
Xylem
trachyards.
Vessels and trachyards.
Please note it down. Xylem vessels and trachyards. Do you understanding all of you? So xylem tissues again how many types now? Xylem vessels and
Two types.
yeah. So in that also we have two purposes. One is water, another one is water. dissolved minerals.
Of
Correct?
minerals.
So
Minerals. Minerals.
carried by something in this, and dissolved minerals will be carried by something in that. Now we will discuss one by one, which is carrying water and which is carrying dissolved minerals. Still here, any doubt? Anybody, please approach me. Ask me now. Do you understand it? Yes.
Understood, sir.
Now, let us discuss. These xylem vessels and tracheids are both non-living conducting tissues which have just thick walls. Will you believe it? These are not a living conducting tissues. These are what?
Sir.
Non-living conducting tissues. Just these are thick walls. Their thickness is little bit larger. That's all. They are both are called as what we should call non-living
Non-living.
tissues. So here also an MCQ question is,
non-living.
what is that? Yeah, that word also very important. Non-living conducting tissues. So which part of the plants are non-living conducting tissues? Xylem tissue. So which is xylem vessels and as well as tracheids. Do you know what is this?
So xylem tissues are also non-living, sir.
Xylem tissue is also not non-living. Xylem tissue itself is a non-living conducting tissue, which is just
Okay, sir.
thick wall. Do you understand it? It's like a thick walls.
Xylem parenchyma also comes under this source.
Yes, this all will come, but the main thing is these things. Yeah, we have studied types of xylem tissues, the tissues of xylem. That I am saying you, non-conducting tissues in xylem. Parenchyma will come, that is also will come. That is I will say you, don't worry. But here I am saying these two things is called as non-conducting tissues. Is it okay, Asika?
Okay, sir.
Okay. They will ask you which part of the tissues of xylem as non-conducting tissues. So that, what is that?
Xylem vessels and tracheids.
Vessels and tracheids.
Non-living conducting tissues which have just a thick walls. So now let us discuss one by one a little bit more in detail, then we can go with that. So the first one is called as what? Xylem vessels. That looks like a just thick walls. Please remember, all of you, note it down. First one is what? Xylem vessels.
Xylem vessels.
So now, so as we know that we have two purposes of xylem tissue. What is that? Supplying of water.
Conducting of water and minerals.
Water and
minerals.
So
dissolved minerals.
this xylem tissue, suppose if we'll take, we are studying mainly two parts. One is xylem vessels and tracheids if we'll take. Xylem vessels. So this xylem vessel is a non-living long tube which will runs like a, understanding, drain pipe through the plant, like in the sense of our drainage pipe, how it will be present. Same way it has been running throughout the plant. That is why I can say a xylem vessel is a non-living tissue, understand, which has been looks like a drainage through the plant. That is what you can say. So for example, I will show you the picture. So all of you understanding, important, the diagram is also most important. So all should learn this diagram. So I will show you both the trachyard and xylem vessels, both at a time. So both all of you remember. So let us comes to here. 1 minute. Okay. So now, you have to learn the diagrams. Will you able to learn or not? Yes. This is what we should call as xylem vessels. So those who don't know, our NCERT books are not that much, pictures are not clear. So you can take this one and you can draw this one in our classwork also. It is not an issue. So this is what we should call as xylem vessels. They are, looks like, can you able to see? This is the pipes. Do you understand, Ra? This looks like a drainage pipes or else a water transportation pipes where we can transport the water. The same way, this is the long tubes or non-living long tubes which looks like a drainage which is passing throughout the plants. That is what we should call it as xylem vessels. Please all of you note it down. Xylem vessels. Where I kept heading, Ray? Or it has been gone, mismatched, I think. Okay. Right. Xylem vessels. So what is the definition, please? Anybody? Write it. The xylem vessel is a non-living. The xylem vessel is a non-living vessel is a non-living long tube which runs like a drain pipe runs like a drain pipe throughout the plant. Do you understanding, all of you? Anybody? Below you have to draw this diagram. Will you able to draw? First part alone you have to draw. Tell me, through the plant. Correct or not? So, you remember, this xylem vessel, actually it is a non-living, so that it is made up of many hollow dead cells, which we used to call as vessel elements. All of you remember, it has been made up of so many dead cells, which we used to call as vessel. What we should call? Vessel elements. Do you understand that? Dead cells we used to call as vessel elements. That is what. So this is what the diagram. All of you should draw it. You have to draw it. So you can observe here how it is looks like. Is it looks like a drainage pipe or not? Is it looks like a drain or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So that is what we should call that xylem vessel. It is, remember, it is a thick wall where it has been made with dead cells and joined end to end. You may observe carefully here. Have you noticed it here? It is looks like a pipes are joining continuously. Is it yes or no? Like our drainage pipes, how we can join? Have you noticed it? Pipes are joined, attachment of pipes, one pipe of after one pipe. Is it yes or no? It looks like similar thing.
sir.
Yes, the same thing is called as xylem vessels also. So xylem vessels also are similar to like how we used to connect the pipes in our regular way. The same way these xylem vessels also connected. These are the like a tubes which has been joined one end to another end. So these end walls of the cells have broken down, so a long open tube is formed. So these xylem vessels run from the roots of the plants and right up through the stem and reaches the leaves. So throughout the plant, it has been formed like a, understanding, like a drainage pipe by joining one end to the another end of these vessel elements. So in our picture, if you'll observe, what is vessel element? Can you able to say from where to where I can call as a vessel element? So from this part, if you'll observe, from this part to this part, this fully is called as what? One vessel element.
Yes,
Is
sir.
it no? One vessel element or dead cell. So like this, millions of dead cells has been joined one end to the another end. That is what it is forming a long tube. That is what we should call as vessel, xylem vessel. From the roots to where? From the roots to stem, and stems to it will reach us to the leaves finally. So these xylem vessels branch into every leaf of the plants also. Why xylem vessels are branching into every leaf? In order to supply what? In order to supply
Water.
which is required for the photosynthesis. So this is what we can say. Now, you remember these xylem cells, I'm saying that they are made up of dead cells, or else we can call it as vessel elements. Because of these dead cells and vessel element, they does not contain the cytoplasm or nuclei. This is the most important. So they are the dead cells. So that is why you can say xylem vessels does not contain water. That does not contain what? Cytoplasm. Plant tissue. Have you remembered plant cell, cytoplasm, or as well as it does not contain nuclei. Do you understanding, all of you? Yes or no? That is one of the important thing. Note it down, all of you. Xylem vessels do not contain Xylem vessels do not contain cytoplasm or nuclei. Xylem vessels do not contain cytoplasm or nuclei. So these are the thick walls. These are the thick walls which has been made of cellulose and lignin. What is that? These cells are made up of what? They are thick walls. Thick walls which has been made up of two pigments called as, what is that? Cellulose
and lignin.
lignin. So these are the two substances. This is also one of the important bit. You may understand it now. Each and every word is becoming one question in the biology. That is what I am saying. So xylem vessels, they do not have cytoplasm or nuclei. The walls of these xylem vessels are made up of two substances. What is that? Cellulose and
lignin.
now you will take why these xylem vessels are very strong. They are even a tube-like structures like drainage, because lignin, it is made up of lignin. So lignin is the very, very hard and strong substance. That is the reason why the xylem vessels provide strength to the stems and keep them always. Plants should be upright. Is it yes or no? Is it the plants are bending? Plants are growing always upright. Is it yes or no? Don't say, sir, when the wind will blow, it will bend. I will say in the tufan or something will come, they will grow. They will bend. That is not. So always why this strength of this stems will very strong? Because of it has been what? Inside some support is there. Tube support is there. What is that? This xylem vessels. So this xylem vessels has been made with the lignin. So this lignin is the very, very hard and a strong substance, very, very strong, STRONG, strong substance, which will give the support to the stem to stand upright. Upright means what? Physics meaning upright. Vertically upright. Have you remembered? Head will be head, down will be down. Correct or not? Array virtual image ra. Have you remembered? Virtual image is always upright, erect. Erect image. Not remembered?
Yes,
What is this then? Upright means erect image, correct or not?
Yes, sir.
That is what. So lignin is a very hard and strong substance. So that is why xylem vessels also provide strength to the stems.
Sir, which will support the plant. That's all, no, sir.
It will support the strength to the stems and helps to keep the plants upright. That is what. So here I will form the question. Please try to answer. So which part of the plants can support to stand the stems upright? Which one, Ra? Which part of the xylem? Xylem vessels.
lignin.
Xylem vessels.
Lignin.
So xylem vessels are the part of xylem which has been supported for the strength and straight and upstraight of stems, which will give the strength to the stems. So because these xylem vessels are made up of what? A pigment called as lignin, which is basically very hard and a strong substance. Do you understanding, Dilipan, Yalni, Tarni Pushpa? Why I am teaching you very slowly? Because each and every point you have to understanding. That is what I am saying. It's a question. Biology is like an ocean, I am saying you. You all people will go to NEET. So if you are not learning the fundamentals here, then you will feel it is like a, no, I cannot even express that feeling. That is what I am saying. Each and everything you have to learn now here itself. So that is what we can say. So every xylem vessels are made up of two pigments. What is that, Ram? It is made up of two substances called as
Cellulose and lignin.
And lignin is only helping provide a strength to the stems and which is make the plants to keep upright. So, and also you can see wood is also made up of, wood is almost entirely lignified xylem vessels. Will you believe it? Whatever the wood we are getting, it is almost entirely lignified xylem vessels. So xylem vessels have pits in their thick cell walls. So these pits are not open pores. You may observe here in the picture, xylem vessels are pits in middle. Have you noticed it? Pits means small pits.
Yes, sir.
Roads having pits, but these pits are not open. Do you understand, Ra? These pits are not open pores. All of you please remember, this is called as pits. What we should call? Pits. So here they have mentioned here a pit. This is a thin area of cell wall. Thin area of cell wall, but it is not a open pore. Do you understand? It is not the open one. All of you. Do you remember, Ra? Now, here one question they will ask you. In xylem vessels, which part of the xylem vessel is a very thin area? Which part of the xylem vessel is thin area? What is that? Which part?
Pit, sir.
Which part? Pit called as. Now you can down one more question you can say. Which part of the plant is thick cell and which contains what? Why it is thick cell and it is very strong? Which contains what? Lignin. So you can see
Lignin.
the remaining part where we are having a pit. Here there is an amount of lignin is less and even it is the cell wall is very thin. That is called as pit. And here remaining part it contains lignin. That is what we can say. Thick cell wall. What we should call? What we should
Thick
call?
cell wall.
That is. So
Thick cell wall.
that is what. Very good. So and here space containing middle between them, and that is why no cytoplasm or no nuclei. Do you believe it? So in between the xylem vessels, middle it will be looks like a tube, but does not contain any kind of cytoplasm or any kind of nucleus. Believe it? Understanding all of you, Ra? Any doubt in this? So many questions we have.
Understood, sir.
So this question based analyzing is most important. So that is why we have a middle, a thin part of the cell wall. That is what we should call as pits. But these pits are not open pores. What we should call? Pits are not open pores. Do you
Not
remember?
open the pores.
Pores. What is the meaning of pore? Pore means hole. Correct or not? They are not the open pore. So these pits are the thin areas of the cell wall where no lignin has been deposited. Where there is no lignin has been deposited. So these pits have unthickened cellulose cell wall. What we should say, Ra? It is unthickened cellulose tissue. Do you understanding all of you? So which part of the xylem vessel does not contain lignin? Does not contain lignin. Which
Sir.
which
Sir.
pit? So this pit is made up of, but basically xylem vessel is made up of two substances. What is that? What I said. Xylem vessel is made up of two substances. What is that?
Cellulose and lignin.
Cellulose and lignin.
So this thin part is made up of lignin. Lignin contains, and this unthickened part, understand this very thin part, thick part contains lignin, and this thin part means unthickened part it contains cellulose. Do you understanding, Ra? So you can write it. So pits does not contain lignin, or else lignin has been deposited. No lignin has been deposited. Pits have unthickened cellulose cell wall. Pits has unthickened means no thickness. Unthickened cellulose cell wall. Do you understanding clearly? Any doubt in this? Please tell me. Cellulose cell wall. Clear, Ra? So
Yes, sir.
in flowering plants, if you take, or any kind of plants, either only xylem vessels transport water, or both xylem vessels and tracheates transport water. Remaining plants are only xylem vessels will transport water, but only in flowering plants. Both they may transport. Xylem vessels as well as tracheates will transport water. That is what I need to say you regarding what is xylem vessels. Please, do you understanding all of you? Now, last point you should remember, most of the plants, water has been transported by water. Water transported by transported by Xylem vessels. But in flowering plants, it may be transported by what? Water may be transported by both Xylem vessels and trachea. You understanding, all of you? Please tell me. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's all. So tracheas. So this is all about the xylem vessels. So next type of tissue is called as what?
Tracheids.
Tracheas.
Tracheids.
Okay, whatever it is. Tracheoids or trachea. T-R-A-C-H-E-I-D-S.
EIDS.
So TRACHEIDS, tracheoids. So this one we'll study in the coming classes. So with this I will stop. So now, do you have idea of xylem vessels clearly? Any doubt, anybody? Please ask me. Let me know. Dileepan, Humaira, Karthikeyan, can you able to say everything regarding xylem vessels?
Yes, sir.
What idea?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt? No. So now,
No
I
doubt.
want to
Understood.
show you one word called as. Have you heard a word called as micrograph? Anybody? Out of 18 students are there now. Have you heard a word called as micrograph? Please tell me. Please
Sir.
let me know if you know. Micrograph. Don't know? Okay. Now I will show you the micrograph of these xylem vessels, which has been taken while we are understanding this image while we are seeing from microscope. Remember, all of you, if you take the photo from the phone, then we used to call it as photograph. Is it yes or no? Is it yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Same way,
Yes, sir.
this is what the picture called as micrograph. What we should call? We should call it as
Micrograph.
We should remember this is called as micrograph, which has been captured while we are seeing the xylem vessels through the microscope. That is why this is called as
Microscope.
micrograph. Means a picture captured from where? Captured while we are seeing in microscope.
Microscope.
That is what we should call it as micrograph. Will you able to remember? So micrograph is a photograph taken using a what? Using a microscope. Using a microscope, only called as micrograph. This is what in this picture. Have you able to see that so many xylem vessels are there? Can you able to see or not? Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir.
This is everything is called as xylem vessels. Xylem vessels. So this is all about xylem vessels. So with this, I will stop the today's class. Now, just don't leave the meeting. You just wait and listen. So anyhow, thank you so much for everyone.